Killing humans is not allowed, but slaying monster beasts, Yunman is an expert at that. Her attacks and speed are even sharper than Qin Tian's. Teaming up with her, Qin Tian is making a big profit. Initially, he had some grievances and was quite resistant to the system, suddenly proposing a team system. But now, with the experience and energy values constantly refreshing in his mind, he can't help but secretly feel pleased. Hunting monsters is similar to fighting warrior monsters in the game, but the leveling is much slower. After an entire afternoon, his experience only increased by a tiny bit. Looking at the long experience bar, Qin Tian felt a sense of helplessness. Of course, compared to others, he was an exceptional existence. For ordinary cultivators on Tianyuan continent, hunting monsters is usually about gaining practical combat experience, learning martial arts from battle, or practicing techniques. It provides little help for breakthroughs. A cultivator's breakthrough is about physical improvement, challenging the limits time and again, gaining insight, enhancing the perception of every organ, strengthening the dantian, and cultivating a powerful energy. Only through the combination of these two can one break through to achieve greatness. No one would be like Qin Tian, who could break through simply by hunting monsters. Scary. Ah, a snake! I'll kill you, I'll kill you. Yunman chirped away like a constantly chattering oriole next to Qin Tian. Although her voice was delightful, after listening to it all afternoon, his ears felt a bit sore. Watching her jump in surprise, her attacks fierce, with a pile of monster corpses on the ground, all staring with wide eyes in a helpless manner, Qin Tian couldn't help but sigh for them. She kept saying she was scared, but her attacks were incredibly domineering. The ribbons in her sleeves shot out, nearly fatal with every strike. How pitiful the monsters that died must feel. Why did you participate in the autumn hunt competition? You don't even want the monster heads, not earning points. What's the point of being here? Qin Tian cut off the head of a long-armed King Kong, and, seeing Yunman staying far away as if she were a frightened little girl, curiously asked. To kill monsters. It's fun, Yunman weakly said as she hid behind. Her answer made Qin Tian almost want to spit blood. He had no choice. He had to slay monsters to level up. Otherwise, he couldn't care less about participating. He didn't even expect much from the rewards. Qin Tian knew that some disciples with backgrounds from the Qin family would buy off several outer sect disciples before the competition, 4 or 5 people hunting monsters, and all the points would go to one person. Even if Qin Tian tried his best, he couldn't compete with those with more people. This wasn't considered cheating. To win first place and earn the patriarch's favor, they would do whatever it took. By the end of the afternoon, Qin Tian added it up. He had earned around 300 points, bringing his total to over 900 points, including the morning and last night. Do you want to take first place? Yunman suddenly asked. Of course. Who doesn't want to take first place? The rewards are great, Qin Tian smiled. If he could compete, why not? After all, it was just hunting monsters. He could gain experience, and if he got first place, there would be rewards. What's not to like? I also want to take first place. I want to enter the library. Yunman murmured, lowering her head. The martial art she practiced, Cloud's Soaring Strike, was only gained when she broke through the 5th level of the martial artist rank and entered the family's library to choose a martial technique. Now, 2 years later, aside from some basic attack moves, she still hadn't learned a proper technique. For families, martial arts are tightly controlled. Except for some geniuses who are constantly provided with martial arts, outer sect disciples have to make outstanding contributions to the family to earn a chance to pick a technique. Otherwise, they may never get a better one throughout their lives. Yunman was an example. If she hadn't broken through the 5th level at 13, she wouldn't even have the qualification to enter the library to choose a martial technique. Qin Tian looked at her thoughtful expression and thought, if I really win first place, maybe I can pick a good technique for her. If he managed to get first place, Yunman had put in a lot of effort. Most of the monsters were killed by her. The sun is setting. Let's return to the cave. I have a bit of a scared feeling. Yunman walked over and looked at the sunset, her face glowing red in the light. Very beautiful. The sky gradually darkened. Qin Tian finished collecting and didn't want to stay any longer. Once night fell, the forest would become a different scene. The monster corpses wouldn't last half an hour before being torn apart with not even bones left. Boom! Howl! Suddenly, a muffled, thunderous sound exploded from the forest, like a huge object crashing down. Immediately after, a tragic howl filled the air, deafening. Qintian frowned, immediately recalling the 5-level monster that had charged out of Kunlun Mountain yesterday. Without thinking, he grabbed Yunman's hand and sharply shouted, "Run!" Yunman didn't have time to react, fear rising in her heart. The previous sound had been incredibly shocking, surpassing any monster she had ever encountered. Could it be a monster above level 4? The autumn hunt competition is set on the border of Kunlun Mountain, where most monsters are low level and rarely do level 4 monsters appear. 5-level monsters have never appeared before, so the Qin family never expected a 5-level monster to appear in the arena. After all, a 5-level monster with a crystallized core could easily wipe out all participants, terrifying to the extreme. Boom! The forest was filled with dust, like the aftermath of an explosion. A powerful gust of dust and air rushed toward them. Qintian held Yunman's hand, running non-stop, with the sound behind them growing louder. The aura of a level 5 monster is too overwhelming. Qintian thought to himself. Even from kilometers away, he could feel the fury emanating from the monster, as if it were right behind them. What's behind us? Yunman also felt the intense shock and nervously asked. Probably a 5-level monster with a crystallized core. A 5-level monster? Probably. Don't ask so much, just run first. Qintian was worried that Yunman would be scared and hurried her along. They were facing a level 5 monster, strong enough to easily crush someone at the spirit gathering stage. They were still at the martial artist stage, like ants. If they didn't run, they would die. Boom! It's gone berserk now. Everyone scatter, and remember, don't get close. A burly man with a thick beard, holding a giant hammer, leapt onto a towering tree and in an instant shot out several meters away as if flying through the air. His strong energy shielded his body. Not far from him, 2 middle-aged men also leapt out, desperately dodging the violent King Kong ape in its berserk state. The team of 13 had now been reduced to just 3 members. They had paid a heavy price for this level 5 monster. Now it was severely injured. Within 3 days, they would surely kill it, and the crystallized core would more than cover their losses. Ah! A scream rang out, and one of the middle-aged men was crushed to death by the berserk King Kong ape with no chance to fight back. Dahu! Yantian, run! The burly man cried out again, watching his brother being crushed to death by the violent King Kong ape. His heart twisted with pain, feeling as though it was bleeding. The team of 13 now only had 2 left. Facing the King Kong ape with divine abilities, they were losing hope.